morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the Cognitive Systems Institute speaker series this morning. I am happy to introduce Bill Chamberlin. He is a distinguished market intelligence professional on IBM's Corporate Market Development and Insights team. Bill founded and leads an internal technology trends research program at IBM called HorizonWatch. The 16-year-old trends research program helps IBMers understand and plan for emerging technologies and disruptive trends. Bill performs research and supports the HorizonWatch community with trend reports, briefs, blog posts, and community conference calls. Bill's a member of IBM's Academy of Technology leadership team, and he's here to talk to us today about technology trends to watch in this upcoming new year. Thanks for being our presenter, Bill, and I'll turn the call over to you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate the intro, Diana, and welcome to everybody who's joining us either live or via the recording. Got a lot of stuff here to go through, and I know we only got about 25, 30 minutes here. So I'm just going to launch straight into this presentation. I want to tell you just real quick a little bit about our HorizonWatch Trends program, because you might have heard about some other related research programs here at IBM. I sit in the corporate marketing department and have basically my whole career, and so the presentation you can see today is more from a marketing type of perspective, a market research perspective, and it's a little different from a technology perspective that you might have heard through our global technology outlook or through other trends presentations. So I come at this really from trying to understand the market and competitive nature of what's going on within our IT technology infrastructure. This program that I've been running called HorizonWatch has been active since 2001, and really our whole focus there is trying to understand a little bit more about the business issues around these technology trends and how we can help shape our strategies a little bit better as a result. So, and I focus mainly on technology trends. But here I wanted to kind of throw up a slide where I'm tracking over 120 topics, really, and they cover mainly, as I mentioned, technology trends. So I'm focused on current trends that are happening in the industry, and then I like to look out maybe 7 to 10 years, and I get a little bucket going called emerging tech trends. And then I also am really interested in what's going on longer range, and you'll see some slides where I kind of help us think through some of those scenarios longer range. I also focus from time to time on vertical industry topics. I'm interested in what's going on in a number of different industries. You'll see a few slides on manufacturing and transportation as a result, but there's a lot of things going on across industry, and sometimes a vertical industry trend can really have an impact on a technology as a whole. So from time to time, I also do business and consumer trends. We're seeing more and more in the last 15, 20 years how a consumer trend can really have an impact on a enterprise-related technology. So that's always something I'm following as well. But what I want to do here is basically just kind of give you a feel for what trends that we're tracking through this HorizonWatch program. And you'll get a little feel for what I'm interested in as well, personally. And then I've got, some trends that I'll go a little bit more deeper in, either on the current platform or emerging trends. And I've tried to pull out a few that are very specific to AI and cognitive computing. Okay, so the current platform where we sit today, it's really comprised of a number of different technologies. And when I talk platform, it's really the technology platform that enterprises are using in their businesses. So it's based on cognitive computing. Increasingly, it's got an element of advanced analytics, cognitive computing embedded in there, maybe some elements of machine learning, deep learning, NLP. So that is increasingly becoming part of this platform. I would say that is more of an emerging part of this platform. I wouldn't say it's totally embedded across all industries, of course. We're working towards a modern systems infrastructure that 20 years ago it was all hardware based, and now it's this combination of software defined and hardware. So we're moving towards a modern data center approach. Sometimes this is often in the cloud. Other times it is on premises within a data center. Obviously, mobile is part of this platform going forward. It's a big part of that. This concept towards the Internet of Things is a critical change and transformation in our industry. It will drive the digital transformation of many companies. Security is obviously a very big part of this platform, and it will always be, of course. It's something that we must have embedded into all of our platforms going forward. Big data and analytics are increasingly, a critical piece of this. Data itself is it's been called the new oil, the new base of the economy. Data is increasingly being used or viewed as an asset, and the monetization of that data is becoming much more important. So it has to be embedded into this technology platform. And then I call out collaboration platforms and tools which need to be embedded across all applications, and therefore should be really integrated into the platform. But what you have here really is an image on the lower right that kind of looks like a set of roots growing out of the ground and into a tree structure. And I like to visualize that here on the next slide, where I talk about emerging trends popping out of this kind of like tree branches. And so there's a whole bunch of things that I'm tracking, and some of them are on this list. And what I do is I kind of dive deep into each one of these from time to time, and like I said, there's a list of about 90 other ones that I'm tracking. These are kind of the main ones, though. Anything from conversational services, chatbots as well, and down the list. And I'll talk about a few of these today in a little bit more detail. Morgan Stanley came out with, and I've been kind of playing with this thought of that we're entering this fourth wave of economic revolution for a number of years now. There's a economist by the name of Carlotta Perez that had a really nice paper on about 10 years ago on this, and then Morgan Stanley came out with something similar, and I've kind of played around with this a little bit with what they did, and so this slide kind of takes you through the different elements of this, or the different waves of economic revolution. Certainly there's a lot of data here in this slide that we won't go over right now, but I want to point you over to that fourth column, and this is kind of where I see we're headed. We're headed towards a fourth wave of economic revolution over the next 80 to I think 120 years probably. That is all going to be based on emerging technologies. And it's going to be very interesting, for those kids that are growing up today to live in this kind of era, because we're transforming really to an era that is really being driven by this computing platform. And there's going to be a mixture of technology as well as technology improvements, as well as improvements in the area of medical science as well, that will be interesting to watch. Also, there will be new technologies in the area of energy storage, energy usage, all very interesting, and things that we really can't imagine today. But it's obvious to me that we're shifting from this platform, or this third wave to a new wave, and it's hard to imagine, like I said, everything that's going to happen, but certainly will be interesting. So, when I try to imagine a little bit off into the future, I spend a lot of time in manufacturing, so I'm really interested in understanding how this new platform, if you will impact manufacturing, and I envision a world of manufacturing operations that is almost totally automated, right? Because of these enabling technologies like Internet of Things, cognitive AI analytics, these intelligent machines and robots, material handling robots. You can imagine a really a almost humanless manufacturing facility from the time the raw materials get into the manufacturing operations till the time that the end product hits the consumer's door. So that could be totally automated. Something I'm calling robotic logistics, but it's going to require a lot of enabling technologies, much similar technologies to what's going on in the driverless car area, which I'm going to talk about next. Actually, in a couple slides, but I wanted to bring in this concept of robots, and we're seeing an increased number of robots designed for industry-specific applications, whether it's a hotel concierge or Lowe's retailers has come out with their Lobot, which they have in a number of stores now. There's other robots here. Molly is an interesting one over on the left-hand side. That's a concept, but they've raised some money and they're going to go out and try to build a robot, if you will, that basically can make a meal for you on a stovetop. So that's going to be an interesting one. Tug is in the lower right-hand corner is a hospital type of robot that goes from floor to floor delivering delivering supplies and such. And there's other examples here of robots. Certainly the elder care area is one that is going to be needed over the long haul. So a lot of different interesting, and these are just some that I've just selected here. There's many more that are really industry-specific applications. And the next slide is interesting as well because I could have pulled out maybe 15 different robots and drones that are being built for farming. But when you think about a farmer who's got a lot of fields, these large commercial farms or even a small farm, they can't be everywhere in their field all the time. So if you have a robot out there that has the intelligence to understand the soil composition, understand how dry or how wet the soil is, or even understand and identify weeds that are growing in that area, that will be a big help to the farming. So what in the middle there's an image of really the idea of precision farming, and the red spots in that image could potentially be, let's say, it could be identifying where the soil needs a specific type of fertilizer or not, or maybe it's those are the dry or the wet areas of the field. So applying cognitive and AI technology to farming is something that I think we're going to be able to learn and apply from what we've learned there across other businesses as well. So let's talk a little bit about transportation, and this is a hot topic, so I pulled it out. But the thought when I start thinking about driverless cars, I also extend that thought to driverless trucks, driverless trains, driverless whatever type of vehicle that you have, and the idea of vehicle-to-vehicle communications there comes into play in my mind. Certainly we're going to have the standalone driverless car, but I envision a really important and critical technology platform that is going to arise to make sure that these cars are moving and all vehicles are moving across our roadways, whether it's urban or rural, in concert with each other. And so I think there's going to be technologies needed here in the area of advanced analytics, advanced AI, advanced what I would call fog or edge computing, and then even swarming technology, which I'll talk a little bit more about. And there's so much going on in the media around driverless cars that we sometimes forget that there's other vehicles out there on the road, and or being used in other places. And so I see driverless, semi-trucks, driverless delivery vehicles, driverless trains, driverless cargo ships, and even pilotless planes. And when I start thinking about pilotless planes, I think about the future of an on-demand aviation. Now, this is going out, of course, perhaps 60 to 100, 120 years, but those of us who grew up in the era of the Jetsons, animated show, we remember the Jetsons flying around in their little car, and this might seem a little funny to think about, but I do think we all kind of envision a future where there will be flying cars, flying vehicles, or whatever. And in fact, there are a number of companies actually working on this, and they're very serious. Uber has come out with a white paper on the topic. Airbus is actively working through it, and there's a list of these other companies. And Larry Page is heavily invested into two companies, and so these investors are thinking about, or actually working on, taking that AI technology we're embedding into driverless cars and embedding it into small planes, if you will. And these are typically vertical takeoff and landing planes. But if you can imagine, a future of driverless cars in this country, and you can, imagine a future of drones in the sky, you can then start imagining a future of really on-demand aviation where you basically just call a plane or a flying car to your house, and or maybe a parking lot near you, and it can take you wherever you want it to go. Anyway, when I think about that, and I think about what I talked about earlier about a need for a technology platform that can handle driverless cars and driverless vehicles on the road, you kind of get the feeling, what type of powerful technology platform will be needed to really monitor the skies and make sure that these flying vehicles that maybe just 10 feet from each other aren't hitting each other. And when they want to land, they can move from one corridor, if you will, in the sky, or highway in the sky to the next. Anyway, that is far off in the future, right? But it's fun to think about, and fun to think about how, what type of research is needed to make that happen. With regard to, enterprises, I also think about how all these robots and things will play in an organizational structure. And so I envision this is kind of like what the organizational structure might be in the next, this could be happening in the next, 5 to, 15, 20 years. You'd have a management layer, and that management layer would have their cognitive coaches, if you will, based on their phone, their mobile device, or whatever. But it would be, an intelligent agent, and then you have the traditional employees. But they're going to have, robots and things that they're working with, and they will also have their intelligent agent on their phone or whatever. And this is, something to think about. I think research is needed in the area of how will these new, organizational structures work with employees working side by side with robots, and then working with their cognitive coaches, if you will, on their phones. So that's an interesting area of research. When I think about, the future of work, I think that it is going to involve a partnership between humans and AI technology, cognitive, technology. And so, what are humans going to excel at, and what are, the machines going to excel at? And, increasingly, I think it's kind of, it's going to be, divided along these lines. Machines are going to be very good at identifying patterns and learning, new things, and of course they'll be able to digest all the data that is available a lot faster than humans. But we're going to still be important in areas like creativity and judgment and imagination and the things. So this will all play out in the future, of course. We can't really imagine everything that will happen down the road. But there's no question that as we enter this fourth wave of economic revolution, that machines are going to be playing a part, and I think there's research that is needed to understand, how we will, collaboratively work together as we move forward. So where are we headed from a technology platform standpoint? We're headed, towards a system that is heavily focused on distributed and edge computing. Analytics is happening very close to these IoT devices. It's highly secure. The data is being treated as an asset. There's the technology being hyped now, but I feel very strongly is going to play a very important part in machine to human communications, and transactions, and that is blockchain. The platform will be heavily analytics and cognitive and AI technology will be heavily embedded in that platform. I see this platform as required to have a heavy focus on user experience. And when I think about user experience in this future platform, it really is human to computer interfaces that is going to be important. And of course, I think it's going to be when you think of the technology that's going to be needed to drive and monitor a sky filled with flying cars and drones, it's going to have to be very fast, very, very fast. Anyway, these are some trends. We've got a few minutes here at the end of the call that I could talk about some of these, and I've pulled a few out. Certainly in the AI area, which we're all interested on this phone, there's just so much activity going on that we didn't even see 3 or 4 years ago in terms of venture capital, startups, a lot of patent work going on. There's acquisitions going on back and forth. Vendors are pulling colleagues and academics out of the universities to come work for them. Vendors are courting developers. It's just becoming a very vibrant marketplace right now, and we're seeing all these conversational services starting to explode now. Certainly from the consumer side, and that will soon be playing itself out in the enterprise side. Let's see. On the conversational services and chatbots, this is going to be a hot area in the next few years, and it'll be very interesting to see how these conversational services and chatbots play their way out in the enterprise area. But anyway, that's a trend that I'm focused, or we're really watching pretty closely. I pulled out swarm computing, which might be a little further out there, of course, but I think a lot of work needs to happen in this area. So this is a good area for research. But it is, I think, the future of ground and air transportation. There's been a number of tests by the U.S. and China that have been publicized in the last really 3 months related to trying to see how many drones we can get swarming together. But anyway, that's a good area for research. And then affective computing I call out as well for you on the phone here today, which is detecting emotions, right? There's a lot of I've been watching this space over the last 2 or 3 years, and there's more and more startups and more and more interest by companies here, and so that's an interesting area. I do think, as I called out a few slides ago, that the future platform needs to be focused on a user experience that is fairly transparent between humans and computers. So I think this is going to be an important area. I think computers in the future, or robots, will need to understand our emotions and be able to work with us, through those emotions as well. So anyway, that's what I had for you today. Hopefully that was a good kind of overview, or kind of got you thinking about what the future might look like. And I'll be happy to take a few questions now. We got 4 or 5 minutes left.
Thank you so much, Bill. That was great. I love crystal balls, and I love imagining what the future will be like, but I have a fear of heights, so I'm not sure I want to be driving a car. But audience, please press *1 to unmute your phone and ask questions.
Hi, this is Sue Feldman from Cognitive Computing Consortium. Great presentation, absolutely. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about impending regulations and how they will affect these trends. In other words, the human side of technologies, which tends to lag behind the technology part.
Yeah, it's obviously that is going to be an important area to watch going forward. And it's almost you really kind of need to watch that technology by technology, right? When I take the concept of blockchain, the governments are really kind of concerned about how blockchain will be rolled out because you can in effect have transactions without middlemen, and how will the government really be able to track those transactions and so on and so forth. And then certainly, obviously, as I painted the future of vehicle traffic and plane traffic, that's the transformation there is going to be tremendous. So, what type of regulation do you need there? And then there will be all sorts of laws that will be tested there. Who's going to be liable if a car flies out of the sky and stuff like that. So regulation is definitely going to play a huge part of this going forward. There's so many aspects to that question as well. But good question. Obviously, it is going to be something we're going to have to watch. So yeah.
You think it'll stifle things?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does stifle things, but it's there's a good side to regulation and there's a bad side, of course.
Yep.
And but I think it's needed. I think you definitely need to have standards, governmental standards, and policies, because you can't have otherwise everything would be a mess. You couldn't have that scenario of the future ground transportation and air transportation without some sort of regulation, right? So there's a good side and a bad side.
Thanks.
Bill, what do you see?
Thank you. Fascinating. Hi, Bill. This is Scott McLeod. I posted my question into the text chat, too. I'm curious what trends you see in robotics, technological, and AI innovation vis-a-vis language development. For example, in all the roughly 200 countries and territories, main and official languages. And I asked this in seeking to develop a universal translator. I've given an IBM CSIG talk about this for all known living languages, but with a MIT OpenCourseWare in its 7 languages basis, as well as a Wikipedia in its 358 language basis and a STEM basis. What trends do you see for languages ahead in all these technologies?
Wow, that's an area certainly I haven't done any deep research in, but when I imagine what that is going to be going forward, I go back to my thought about the importance of the user experience in the future, and how people will talk to machines, and machines will of course be talking back to them, and then you think about people talking to other people. It's going to have to be transparent. Language probably won't be a barrier in the future, right? You can talk whatever language you want, and you will be understood instantaneously. And so that just thinking about how that will impact globalization, is really interesting. So. When I think through that, I think I think that's an important area for research, and important it's an important trend that will be embedded into that future technology platform. So very interesting area.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill, for being our presenter today. Audience, thanks for your questions. I just want to remind everybody that Bill's slides are available on our Cognitive Systems Institute website, and I can pass along any of the chat questions to Bill after this meeting, but we're out of time for today. So please join us again next week. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.